And now we come to the last part of our symposium. We will have a short discussion between our speakers. So may I once again invite our speakers today, Professor Emil Marcus, who is online, and we'll wait for him online, and Professor Alexandra Lobo, Professor René Busac, yes, and Dr. Manuel Andrade. May we invite you on the panel for a brief discussion among the experts and see if we have questions or comments or discussions with our audience present and also online. Hi, hello, testing, Emil, can you hear? Emil, can you hear us?
I cannot hear.
I'm testing this microphone. Is this open? Yeah, it's open. Is it open? Are you sure?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
No. Hi, Emil. We are testing the microphone.
Okay, now I can hear you. Thank you.
No, this one you can hear. Can you
Yes.
see us on stage, Emil?
Yes, I can see you on stage. Thank
Okay,
you.
so this microphone I'm using, you can hear, but we are testing the handheld one.
Oh, okay, so you're at the podium.
Oh, okay, it's working.
Yes, I can hear now.
We will share this one. So, Emil, thank you for being with us here for the discussion session. I know it's midnight now in Macau, so you are ready to go.
No, my background is still very bright, so don't worry.
Yes, your background is still sunny, so it's still morning at the time here. Firstly, among all these speakers, I would like to start one big discussion. We have talked about Greater Bay Area, China, and some projects in Portugal and projects in Brazil. So I would like to ask all these experts here, what do you think is the biggest challenge about practicing open innovation? What do you see as the biggest challenge putting all? I mean, you all mentioned a lot of different challenges, right? So if you want to pick one, if we want to have a global open innovation, or at least just between Greater Bay Area, Brazil, Portugal, what do you see as the biggest challenge? So who wants to start? Yeah, okay, we'll have Manuel, we'll start first.
Well, it is not working, right? It is working? Okay. Well, I have one challenge that I don't know if you will agree with me, but the biggest challenge in my experience, is culture. So, because I belong to a big corporation, and a big corporation culture is completely different from a startup mindset. So when they clash, it's very difficult for a startup to understand a big corporation and the other way around. And sometimes, I think what's critical on open innovation, because the players are so diverse, and that's good that they are diverse, because it's from that diversity that great ideas come. But when you have a lot of diversity, you also have some cultural clashes. So I would say, and I'm talking about startup big corporation, but if we talk about Rio de Janeiro or Lisbon or Macau, I'm sure that culturally they are also different. So that would be my answer.
Okay, thank you, Manuel. So cultural between different places, right? If we want collaboration. And René?
Yes, I mean, I couldn't agree more. And maybe just like to take this to the next level. So like for us in the lab, like we work a lot with partners across Europe. And of course, there's like also just like a different culture in working together, right? Like in terms of like, how do we deliver? When are we going to do something? Like what is kind of like, what is considered good output, right? just like these like small things which kind of like make a big difference in the success of a project. I think that's that kind of like this intercultural component that makes it hard, I feel. And I think like the second thing is also strategic intentions, as in like when you say like culture between startups and organizations, that's one thing, but also strategic intentions, no? Because like a startup, they say like, look, we have this implemented within the next 3 months. And the corporations that invest might say like, well, we just want to explore 3 months. We are not that fast, no? And I think like, and the same thing happens also like in European Union projects where some companies, so like we work together with universities and startups and large corporations, and universities, they are interested in doing research and they want to publish something and change the world. Then there's like corporations that just want to be part of the whole game, not to lose, and kind of like see like, okay, what's happening, right? So like to fuel kind of their innovation cycle. And startups are there to kind of like, in a way, fund their operations because they're actually using often these projects as cross-funding, right? So strategic intentions vary, and that kind of makes it difficult to, because like the weakest link kind of determines the speed of a project. You know? And so that's kind of like where we see challenges there.
Nice. Thank you, Renee. Alex, what do you
Yes,
think?
well, I agree completely. What I've been facing and what I can identify from biggest challenges is very related to that, because I see when the strategic alignment is not present, you have cultural clashes, right? Because you don't have the proper capacity of implementing. I'll bring just a bit more to the operational side. Sometimes we see that in our case that we are working in this project specifically of culture, social innovation, I can see that the burden of the operation sometimes impact the innovation culture, right? So you want to innovate, you want to create new things, you want to change your environment, but the operational burden or the operational challenge sometimes doesn't let you, right? So you need to transform the culture first and make it open and more mature for that. And this is not easy, right? This is very, very hard to achieve. So I bring this light as well to the discussion.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Emil, how about you?
Well, culture definitely is a big component because in one of my study subject companies, they have been outsourcing to companies over in the UK, but their working culture is so different from that of the Greater Bay Area that it was very, very difficult to continue to keep working with them, especially over a long distance, and also a different perspective and again different alignment on the culture. But one specific thing that I actually found through my research, which is actually quite interesting, is the market size and proximity to a large market, because I'm studying the Greater Bay, where you have Macau, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen together. We found that a lot of the companies located in Macau would be gravitated towards the big cities, even when they first think about open innovation. Okay, so that means even the government trying to have really good policies inside Macau, the perception of a better ecosystem out there, a better internationalization, better leaders, better mentors in Hong Kong or in Shenzhen would actually pull away these startup entrepreneurs from Macau and taking them away from Macau. And that's actually one I don't know if you guys have that in Europe as well, where people might be pulled towards more like Paris or other bigger companies, right?
Okay, thank you, Emil. So aside from culture operations, there's also the issue of the bigger cities and companies absorbing the talents from the smaller companies, right? And I would like to give the chance for our for the floor. Our audience, if you have question, let me pass you the microphone.
Thank you. My name is Gonçalo. I'm a PG student from Nova SPE. I'm actually from the knowledge from the user and open innovation lab over there too. Yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to push the conversation a little bit more to my area that's around strategy and innovation. I have two questions actually. I don't know if I can make both. Yeah, sure, thanks. I've been hearing a lot about the open innovation is about collaboration. We know that we've been actually the triggers for open innovation in some kinds in terms of GAP was to decarbonize, for instance. So my first question is that what are actually the triggers behind collaborations? Is it the problem? Is it market development? Is it product development? So first question is related to basically to the antecedents of open innovation. And my second question, and actually linking a little bit more the floor to strategy innovation, how do you see open innovation bridging and opening new streams of business, new business models in the way that you actually being seen in your job, in your research? And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question. So the first question, I assume you're addressing to Manuel about what, for everyone. So who can, maybe we can see me, Manuel first. You are the one who are in the industry. So what triggers the working
Yes.
open innovation with others?
So your first question is what triggers open innovation or collaboration, right? I would say it's needs, the need of solving problems. In our case, it's for us it's very clear what we need to do. We need to decarbonize our activities, so we need to find solutions that help us keeping selling energy, but that it's clear, it's cleaner, and that don't have emissions. So that's, for us, it's really simple. So, and the trigger is that somebody decided, and it's good that they decide that, obviously, that by 2050, we cannot still emitting carbon, but we'll still need to sell energy to everybody, because every one of us will still need the energy, and we will consume much more energy than we do today. So if we want to have a business, we have to find the way to give them the energy that they want without carbon. And so that's the trigger here is strategic orientation, obviously, because it's very clear for us, but it's also the immediate need, because we know that we cannot keep working as we are now. We need to find different ways. And why this is related to open innovation? Because the world today is so complex that we all know that there won't be one solution that fits all, and that knowledge is not proprietary to a university or to a research institute, that the next solution can come from everywhere. It could be anywhere. Could be a startup in India, could be an entrepreneur in the middle of Brazil, could be somebody in Ireland doing something, so we don't know. So that's why you need to do it like that.
Thank you, Manuel. Renee, what do you think?
So, I mean, I couldn't agree more, but obviously I have to say something different. And I was thinking like, so in terms of strategy, right? So I think like your second question was like about strategy and why companies do this. And like first, obviously, like for the very reasons that you were just sharing, Manuel. But second, I feel that there's like a difference between, there's different types of companies, right? So there's like market driving companies and there's market driven companies. And I feel today there's also like open innovation driven companies, which are kind of like in between. Whereas, for instance, a market driving companies would be someone like Tesla, where they say like, look, I just sold my shares to PayPal, I'm just going to do this, you know? And like with a visionary leader and saying like, look, this is like I believe in this and I drive the market, right? Same thing also like for Apple, right? It was driving the market without consideration. Think about like the iPod, for instance, now. So there were like moments, and this could also equally happen like in a context of energy transition, right? That's it. So there's like market driving companies, and then there's like market driven companies, and those are the ones that are kind of like fast followers. So it's like, let's see like what everyone else is doing. Like probably there was someone who does like a company that doesn't necessarily have a visionary leader, which is perfectly fine, right? Not everyone has to be a market driving company, right? And there's also like an advantage in being a fast follower. And I feel like kind of in between would be a company that follows open innovation approaches. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't have like your own internal R&D, but you kind of like need to have that spark and vision come of like for the long tail of solutions need to come from the external world, right? And I think that's like where open innovations have become strong. Just like as a different perspective on your second question. Yeah.
Thank you, Rene and Alex.
Well, you mentioned already the essential parts. I'll just give some contribution for the motivation, right? For the what brings the need for open innovation. And we were discussing this in Brazil after the symposium, right? Why the university? Because sometimes the university goes like driven, right? Oh, everybody's doing open innovation, incubator, we have to do it. But what we were exactly discussing this, why we are doing this, right? Why open innovation? And we had some incubators there that they were created by the market players. For example, there was an incubator created from a big hospital, and it was pretty clear for us that everything was created to solve their issues, right? They created all that ecosystem, and of course, there were many startups doing their own jobs. Some studying autistic, and the hospital doesn't even focus on that. But they created all the ecosystem so they could find in the middle of those solutions or in those startups and those brains around there, possible solutions for them, right? And I think that's in the end what motivates is the problem always, right? We need to find solutions for the problem, complexity, like the ambiguity, right? Or the volatility, right? The VUCA concept, right? And from there, we see that companies, even if they don't have proper the idea of open innovation, the one who is putting the step on innovation is always driven by the needs, right? And I think that's a big motivation that we can find. For example, now this connection with Sunny in Hanqing, that USJ signed this MOU. In the first meeting that we had with them, like months ago, they mentioned, oh, we have lots of problems and we want to bring to the university. We didn't even mention open innovation exactly as a platform, right? But this was the original idea that they brought from the company.
Right. Thank you, Alex. Emil, hold on. Emil, do you have anything to share?
So I think to answer the gentleman's question, it really depends on the level, like the level of is it an incremental innovation that we're looking at? Then there will be a purpose already because it's just making something better. But if it's something totally new that nobody has ever done before, then you're looking at something totally different because there's actually I interviewed a company where there's no one else who could do this for them because it was so new that they had to resort to closed innovation because there's no one else outside the system for them, right? So it really depends on the level and what type of innovation. Of course, as Alex mentioned, that if a company like Sunny, who is already focused in different aspect of their company and they have a very well-defined problem, then of course this is already kind of a marketplace for this company to go in to find solutions for their existing problems, right? So that is also a trigger. So it really depends on the where or which type of innovation we're looking at on the trigger. And I hope that answers the gentleman's question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emil. And thank you for your answers. I think one of the general idea of the triggers, according to all our experts here, one of the trigger is the need to solve a problem, right? And sometimes that even know, which brings me to something I'd like to share, that actually open innovation, I did a research which are focusing on traditional SMEs. So these small companies in Macau, they don't even know what is innovation, open innovation. But in my research, it found out that they are actually doing it. They have been sharing their not technology, but the non-technology open innovation. They have been sharing different methods and ways to deal with different issues, but their idea is not to solve the problem of in terms of innovation of a problem. The idea is to develop social capital. So because they wanted to develop the network and social capital, and unknowingly, they're actually practicing open innovation. And this actually helped this group of SMEs. Because of this, it helped them to improve their products or services in some ways. So I believe there are different triggers that could be contributed. So I hope we develop the question. And we have another question here. Let me give you the microphone.
Very much. Ana Cristina from CCCM, Educational Service. And I have a comment and a question. And my comment is that if culture is a problem or can be a problem or can be an obstacle, we can help, because we have here experts of culture, of philosophy, so we can join forces, collaborate, and help to solve problems at cultural level. Now, this is the comment. Now, the question. The question is for Professor René, and it's about platforms and about your kind of platform. So I want to know if I'm thinking to get a platform, this kind of platform for this Macau Cultural and Scientific Center, for Macau Scientific and Cultural Center, how long takes for me to learn, I'm a professor or a researcher or a teacher, how long I need to learn, and it takes for me to learn to master a platform and also to teach my students to manage this platform. And it will be very expensive, this kind of platform. And one more question. Shall it be safe, or shall I worry about these cyber attacks? This is a very simple question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So Professor René, you could answer the questions.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think that 3 great questions, and maybe the third one I give to Manuel. But like the first one, actually, you know, like what is interesting, like any startup that is part of like open innovation, and especially in the digital space, one of the things that is kind of guiding a startup is always like time to value. And time to value is the moment, like whenever I hear first about something, I go on the platform, I log and register, and then when do I have like the first moment of like, right? So like this moment, time to value, that's kind of like what we are striving to reduce. And so for that, like with a new design that we're uploading next week, basically we plan to have this within 5 minutes, right? So that's kind of like the 5 minutes. 5 minutes where you feel like time to value, because the time to value motivates you to continue, right? Because otherwise, like any product that where you don't immediately feel like, I don't know, you might lose interest and attention. So having said that, like if you want to set up like a program in this, so like we do everything like for every single use case to increase time to value. And we also have like people that support you in setting things up. But in theory, it should go really fast. And for students, it's very fast in any case. It's kind of like guided, right? So now in terms of costs, there's like, so as I said, like for anything that's non-profit, there we also provide this for free, just at cost price. For instance, like we have to pay for the AI services, right? And so for server and those kind of things. And then that kind of like price has to be covered, but everything else is on free. Companies for profit purposes, they would have to pay, right? That's clear. And cyber attacks, you know, actually, I think it's a good question. So I think, like, generally, we shouldn't be, yes, we should be worried, maybe individually. So individually, like, there is always challenges with cyber attacks. But as a company, in fact, the weakest link is usually the employee and not kind of like the cloud service, right? So like there's like companies like spend a lot of time and effort and money into providing like, kind of like preventing cyber attacks. But the problem really is like the employee, because like clouds are very, very safe, So I think there's like hardly anything that can happen except, but like on a private level, it's different. I hope that just like three perspectives.
Can I just add something? Companies also today, they spend a lot of money training their employees. We have tests almost every week. They try to trick us. They send us an email from the CEO saying something, and then we're going to open it, or then so they give us all those tests, and they find very imaginative ways to trick us into put our email or our password, and then it comes a message from the cybersecurity team, we got you. And so you learn about it. So because the weakest link is always the employee. Yeah, right.
Okay, that's interesting to know.
We have a board when you come in.
No, we don't always see, that would be the next level. They show the picture to everyone. So those were the guys that we could fool. Not yet. I would be in that board sometime, so I would be really embarrassed.
Okay, so thank you for all your sharing. We are almost time. Maybe we have prepared some, we still have some coffee and some refreshment. We can bring our discussion back to the back, so we can have a closer discussion with our experts and to discuss more on this issue. Before that, since Emil cannot join us here, I will need to pass on one last question to Emil on behalf of someone online who sent me this question earlier, which is how does just now your presentation is about the whole Greater Bay Area. What benefit can open innovation bring to Macao's business? What do you think?
Okay, thank you for the question. So in terms of the Macao business, as since the Greater Bay Area consists of multiple supply chains in the multiple different cities, and also it's part of including Hong Kong and Shenzhen, Guangzhou, all these big areas with huge financial markets. And these are the markets can actually complement Macao in areas that it needs, such as probably attracting more international investors that can go directly in terms of cash flow, in terms of investments from Hong Kong and also from Shenzhen. Moreover, since this Greater Bay Area is now working closely together, which means policies will allow funding of new ventures and venture capitals to flow more easily, both from Macao and to Macao. So this will help even locals, or it could help international startups such as like companies from, let's say, Gulf and other places to consider coming to Macao, right? That is closer to the big market of Greater Bay, but also at the same time be able to access the funding from, let's say, Hong Kong, but also the staff and technology from Shenzhen. So it's a really big boost for Macao in terms of making it a more attractive place. for innovation, and specifically open innovation and collaboration.
Okay, thank you, Emil. Well, I don't know if the audience who asked the question is still online or maybe in bed already, but we will send the video link to all the participants, so he will get your answer from the video. So here I would like to once again thank all our speakers today. Thank you, Professor Emil Marcus, Professor Alexander Lobo, Professor René Boussac, and Dr. Manuel Andarte. And once again, I would like to thank CCCM for hosting this event and organizing this, providing the venue and technical support, and Católica, Universidade Católica for co-organizing this event with us. So in the end, I would like to ask for a round of applause to all our speakers today. Thank you very much. So I would invite you to proceed to the refreshment area so we can continue the further discussion.